Let's be honest, it can be exhausting being around people who are negative a lot of the time. Whether it's a coworker that's complaining incessantly about your boss, a friend that is always coming down on their partner, a uncle who is always complaining about all the problems in the world, a partner who is always getting down on themselves or everyone else around them. It's not fun. It doesn't feel good. It's not uplifting, obviously. And it's usually not the kind of conversations we want to be having, at least not the majority of the time. So what do you do about it? How do you not let other people's negative attitude or seemingly incessant focus on all the problems, no matter what they are, keep from impacting you so much? Keep from spoiling your mood and bringing you down and putting you into a negative headspace so easily. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to go over just quickly why people tend to get into this negative pattern of thinking and of speaking and of sharing. And then we're going to talk about what we can do about it so that it's not ruining our moods, bringing us down, making us feel all negative, but without having to just cut everyone out of our lives who is not always roses, rainbows, and sunshine, because that's not going to be too helpful or too effective either. But first, if you're new here, welcome to our incredible little corner on the internet. Take a second, introduce yourself in the comment section below. If you're back again, always good to have you. Say hello. Either way, my name is Kristina, and I am a registered clinical therapist, a researcher, a coach, a speaker, and an author, and the creator of my membership community, the Shift Society, where we are taking this work to the next level, and you are being guided and supported and coached the whole way through your journey. You can get more information about the Shift Society in the description below. I help heart-centered humans think better, feel better, show up better so that they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And this is actually a question that came to me that someone asked and said, Julia, how do I stop letting other people's negative attitudes, negative moods, negative focuses bring me down, make me feel bad? And I'm guessing they're not the only one who's dealing with this. But first, let's just go over briefly why people get into these patterns of being negative. Because creating that understanding does help us be less judgmental. It also helps give us a little bit more patience, and it also prevents us from getting quite so impacted by it when we have that deeper understanding. So the first reason is, obviously, if someone has been through terrible things in their lives, if they have been through some kind of significant trauma, some kind of major difficult transition, something from their childhood, something from the recent past, if they're going through a painful breakup, they're having relationship issues, they're having issues with their job, they're in really financial or stressful financial situations, kind of these big ones can really put a damper on someone's overall mood and well-being, which is going to cause them to likely focus more on negative things because they're struggling so much internally. They're in a lot of pain. Another reason is they might have a mental health issue. Maybe they are struggling with significant or severe depression, or they have a lot of anxiety, or they are struggling with some kind of other mental health issue that is causing their brain to struggle to focus on anything good or positive or right that's going on, that they're in this headspace because there's something deeper going on inside their psyche. Another reason is because they could have physical health issues. And you know that if you've ever been really sick or if you've ever been in a lot of pain physically, that it puts a damper on your mood. It's really hard to be happy and joyful and positive when you are in physical pain. And especially people who have chronic pain, it can cause that kind of perpetual irritation that then comes out in their attitude and the things that they focus on. Not always, but it's probably a little bit more understandable why someone would find it hard to be happy when they are in pain. Another reason is some people just grew up in homes with parents who were constantly complaining, looking for the downside, finding the problems, seeing the glass as half empty. And they picked this up from there. It's just become an ingrained habit. It's what they learned, and maybe even all they really have known. And so then a lot of the things that we learned in our formative years, because that's when it's forming how we think and feel and show up and how we see things and handle things, it's formed that then. So then it continues to just be the same thing unless there's been actually any intentional work to change those patterns. So understanding where people are coming from helps us feel less judgmental towards them, maybe gives us a little more patience from the offset. So what can we do to not let other people's negativity or bad moods or pessimistic focus drain and take away from us? The first thing we can do is learn how to just listen. Learn how to listen without taking it on. Human nature is to hear somebody talk about a problem and then we want to fix it. We want to come up with a solution. We want them to not have that struggle, so we want to help get them out of it. But what ends up often happening is it becomes frustrating for both people. When's the last time you were trying to help someone through a problem and give them what you thought to be perfectly good advice and they yeah-butted you? Yeah, but that won't work. Or yeah, but there's no point. Or yeah, but it's going to be too hard. Or yeah, but I already tried that. And then you get frustrated because you're like, I'm just trying to help, but they don't seem to be willing to receive that help. And then it creates more overwhelm for you because you're like, I don't know why they're not doing this. And it gets more frustration from them because they're like, why is this person trying to tell me what to do? And it creates more stress in the relationship, not less. So learning how to just actively listen, just hear what someone is saying. And here's the clincher: without taking it on or feeling responsible to fix it. When we are taking on other people's problems and thinking that it's our responsibility to fix it, that's codependence. That's us saying that we need them to be okay, ultimately so we can be okay. That we have to fix other people's problems so that we don't have to stress or worry. But instead, just listening without thinking you have to fix it, because you don't and you probably can't. So just listening to what they're saying, learning some of those really good active listening skills is going to be key here. And you're going to find it so much less stressful being around someone who's going through something hard or who seems to be complaining a lot or focusing on the negatives. You're going to find it so much less hard if you don't feel like you have to change it or fix it or make it better. The next thing is just to try to understand what they're going through and where they're coming from. So this just comes back to being curious and asking someone, what's that like for you? What's been going on with that? Tell me more about this. When did this start? What have you tried to deal with this? And just get curious. And again, seeking that understanding without thinking that you have to fix it. And honestly, sometimes people who tend to be complaining about the same thing a lot just want to feel heard. They don't want anyone to fix it. They don't want anyone to make it better. They just want to feel acknowledged for whatever it is that they're going through. And a good way for someone to feel acknowledged is to just ask questions to get more clarity and understanding. It's amazing how we start to feel understood when someone is showing understanding. The next one is ask them questions for solutions. So get curious about what they're dealing with and what they've tried. So again, not us taking on that responsibility and thinking that we're the ones who have to fix it, and then all of the stress and frustration that comes with that, and instead giving that agency back to them, that agency over their own lives by prompting them with questions to help them come to their own options or their own solutions. The next thing, if you are finding that someone that you know just has this habit of looking for the negatives, complaining, talking about all the things and all the people that are going wrong in the world or at work or in their families or with the stranger on the street. Just shift the focus. It's actually really easy to change the energy of a conversation by either just changing the topic of the conversation or shifting the focus of the conversation. Now, when we're shifting the focus of the conversation, usually someone is focused on all the negatives, all the things that are going wrong, all the things to complain about. And by shifting the focus, we're simply prompting the conversation to go in a different direction by saying things like, tell me something that's been going well in your life. What was something that you were happy about today? Hey, I remember you were really excited about this thing. How did it go? And just shifting the energy by shifting it to good things, positive things, successful things. And you will find that with most people, they are ready and willing to do that, even unconsciously, that they will jump into, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And oh yeah, that did go well. Some people will pick up on it. They will pick up on what you're doing, and they will notice that when you intentionally change it to something more positive, that it's because they have been dwelling on the negative a lot. Some people aren't even really aware that they're focusing on the negative until someone else points it out, either obviously or in one of those subtle ways. And I've had this happen several times where I've shifted the conversation by asking them those prompting questions to focus on something more positive. And they've been like, oh yeah, you're right. I need to be focusing on something better. I need to stop dwelling on this, or I need to stop being so down about this. And I've got to look at this side of things as well. And brains will pick up on that, and often are grateful for that shift, that help in shifting the focus. The next thing we can do is have an honest conversation. Now, this is going to depend on the relationship. You might not want to have this conversation with a boss that you don't necessarily have that familiarity with, but with a good friend, with a family member, even with a coworker that you feel some closeness or connection with, and simply sitting down and letting them know how what they have been focusing on lately is affecting you, how you are finding it difficult to stay positive or stay focused or stay in a good headspace when they are talking about or focusing on all these things that have been going wrong or that they're not happy about. So just be honest, be vulnerable, let them know how it's impacting you. They're probably not even aware. And then just ask for a change. Ask if you guys can start focusing on more healthy, helpful, positive things. Or if it's not appropriate or you don't feel comfortable having that kind of vulnerable conversation with whoever it is that you're thinking about right now, you can just set a boundary and be direct. Saying something like, you know what? I don't think focusing on all the problems or everything that's going wrong is helpful, serving, or productive. Let's focus on something else. Clear as that. And if all else fails, it's time for the bubble. Imagine having a clear, translucent bubble around you, and imagine that this is your energetic space. This is where your attitude lies, your choices, and how you're thinking and feeling, and how you want to be showing up, how you want to be having the energy around you, keeping a more peaceful or positive or optimistic space, wanting to feel more calm and grounded, and not letting other people's words or attitudes or negativity or complaining or whatever that is enter into your space. Just imagine that this is the bubble around me and I'm not letting that stuff in. That no one is allowed to spoil my mood or bring me down without my permission. That I am in charge of the energy that I bring into the room. I am in charge of the emotional state that I keep and hold and protect from myself. Again, if you are really struggling with not getting overtaken by other people's emotions, by not getting pulled down or sucked into them, then it is a good chance that you are struggling with codependence, where your well-being is dependent on other people's, which makes it hard to separate your well-being from theirs. And if that is something that you are struggling with, then we need to do some work on you being able to manage and process your own emotions without being dependent on other people's mental or emotional state for your own. I have a really effective, short and sweet training for you. It's called the Sensitive Person's Guide to Handling Big Feelings. And in that guide, it's going to teach you how to manage your emotions with your brain and with your body. It's going to teach you how to process your emotions and how to understand your emotions so you're not getting so caught up in either yours or other people's. So make sure you grab that Sensitive Person's Guide to Handling Big Feelings. And now, let me know. Which one of these are you like, I am going to try that. I am going to do that next time, and then do it and report back here and let me know how it goes. Grab that Sensitive Person's Guide to Handling Big Feelings. And as always, take good care of yourselves. Take good care of those around you. Bye for now.